As my mad laughter finally began to subside, I heard another voice, someone else's laughter. I turned around to see Alice standing there, no longer gripping the tree, but standing just a few feet behind me, laughing and smiling, as if she didn't have a care in the world. "You were right, Reginald. It's such a silly little thing, pain. Why bother with it if it's not helping you? It's just a silly little door. All you have to do is close it, and suddenly it doesn't matter anymore." "Yes, Alice," I replied. "It's such a curious thing. Just a moment ago, I would have given up everything just to stop it," I said, staring down at the potion in my hand. "I can't believe I was that weak." "Say, Reginald," Alice said, "that wasn't Dark Reginald. It was a new one. I haven't met him before. But just like all the other Reginalds, I think I like him too. It doesn't really matter, because after all the Reginalds are going to be mine. Dark Reginald, Happy Reginald, even Fiery Reginald, whoever he is," Alice said, stepping closer and closer to me, slowly wrapping her arms around me. "It doesn't matter. Reginald is Reginald. They're all mine. Mine and mine alone. But it was very nice of you, Reginald, to help me understand, to help me close the door," Alice said, looking up at me as she hugged me tightly. She still had blood on her face, and dirt, and a mad look in her eye that normally I found quite terrifying. But for some reason, at this moment, it didn't bother me at all. I simply smiled and hugged her right back. "It'll all be okay, Alice. I'm not going to be weak anymore. Even if you're willing to carry me, I'll walk on my own. I've been trailing behind you for so long now. It was starting to become a habit. But don't worry, we'll walk together now. No one in front or behind, side by side. As long as I have you, Reginald, it doesn't matter," she said, clinging very tightly to me. And for some time we stayed like that. We no doubt could still feel the pain, the agony of the process, and yet we simply accepted it, as if the pain were simply a natural part of our being, no different from feeling the breeze of the wind on your skin, the warmth of the sun on your face, the feeling of rain as it falls. It was just something else that we felt, no more and no less. Soon enough, the 3-hour allotment came to an end. "Now," Sylvia said, "it's time to take the potions. The 3-hour allotment has closed," she said, seeming almost frightened at the time, uncertain about what was actually going on. And Eliza just seemed outright terrified, as if she'd seen a ghost. But regardless, I ignored it, and me and Alice took our potions. I didn't see what happened when Eliza took hers, but when me and Alice took ours, it was something I never really expected. There was a sudden jolt of energy. It felt as if something was pulling my breath from my body, and with that, a massive white cloud, glowing, bright white energy in all directions, flowed from out of my lungs. It was massive, like a giant cloud of smoke coming from a fire, but more like steam, simply so thick that you couldn't see through it. "Alarium Vexan," Sylvia announced, holding 2 large bottles that she released that began to float midair. Suddenly there was a whirl of wind, Both the cloud coming from me and the one coming from Alice seemed to be caught in the wind, and in no time at all had filtered their way down into the bottles, beaming bright light from inside. And then suddenly, Sylvia put large corks with strange symbols on them, sealing the bottles. She took a deep breath afterwards. Well, this was an unexpected series of events. I never thought she would last the full 3 hours. Honestly, Eliza made it farther than I expected any of you two. Most would have given up long before the 3rd cycle hit. But never mind. What is done is done. The process is complete. All of your white wisps have been sealed away for the time being. There will come a time when we will use these. But for now, I shall stow them away for safekeeping, she said, with a beckoning of her fingers as all 3 of the vials floated away, back into that purple void, fading into that nothing that Sylvia seems to send things to. I don't know what that spell is, but I really have to learn it. Well, as far as progress goes, Eliza managed to last nearly an hour, 54 minutes to be specific, and you two went the entire 3 hours. No doubt at this moment, you're experiencing a great deal of soreness and pain that is left over from the process. It will be exceptionally dangerous to attempt to use magic, so for the time being, do not. You will be required to spend the next few days resting. No magic. Your bodies need a great deal of time to recover, but because of this process, all of your abilities as a caster will have greatly increased. Even Eliza, who only made it an hour, which is quite frankly above par. She acquired nearly 2 years worth of training, and the 2 of you, well, let's just say that your new abilities are going to take some getting used to. You're going to have to learn how to manage magic a bit differently. Your limits have increased to such a degree that it would be dangerous to cast spells without being exceptionally wary of where you're aiming them. Before, you were able to gauge your abilities by what you are already capable of, but your capabilities have improved to such a degree that you no longer have a working understanding of what that is, what your level of abilities are. You will have to relearn this, but the process will be more than worth it, and not as time-consuming as it was when you first began to learn magic. Quite frankly, I've never really seen anything like that. In all the years I've been practicing magic, and in all the people I've seen this process done for, none of them have ever reacted in such a way. I'm going to be honest now. You two terrify me. I do not know what you are made of, but truly, it is frightening. Reginald, I was aware, based on your magic casting, that your spirit had a unique essence, which is a rare thing, no doubt. But in all my years, I have never seen such a display. I have heard of what just transpired before, but never imagined that I would see it myself. Spiritual fragment translocation. Quite frankly, it's astonishing. Amazing in more ways than you can imagine. That was an exceptionally rare event. Few have ever seen it. To have a single aspect of your soul, some part of your being, that is so ingrained within you, such a powerful part of your very essence, that it has its own consciousness, and can enact its own will. This is not a common thing, Reginald.